Thank you for watching this Last Mile Profits video.
Have PUDOs peaked? I think this is going to be a really interesting video in which Gary and I actually have a bit of a boxing match because our views, surprise, surprise, are rather different. Stay tuned to find out more. Experience the future of convenience with modern Expo parcel lockers. Cutting-edge innovations that bring parcel delivery to a fundamentally new level. Follow the link in the description to find the best solution for your business. Gary, have PUDOs peaked? That is the question we're going to cover today.
So has the PUDO bubble popped?
Yes, that's one way of putting it. Well, look, this is a really cool one because you know, Gary, I am a mega fan of PUDOs, and I believe that anyone who says PUDOs will die are wrong because PUDOs are very complementary. There may be fewer of them, they may be different in format, but because of the extra capacity they can take, they're not a piece of metal that cannot be stretched. PUDOs will continue to have an important role, albeit it may be, depending on the market, a less important role than they've had in the past. What do you think?
I have to disagree. So if I look at what's happening live in the UK, and I had a great trip to Helsinki last summer, went to visit a locker operator out there and had a good tour around many locker locations and spoke to 2 or 3 of the big PUDO/locker operators. They are definitely post-PUDO in Finland. Of the major chains that were offering, major retail chains that were offering sort of hundreds and thousands of PUDOs, all but one of them have kicked parcels out of the shop. And it's for a number of reasons. I think it's a victim of its own success. It is really good. It's a fantastic solution, Marek, as you say, but too much can be too much. The walls aren't made of elastic. So they've got 2 effects. One is huge amounts of storage required when you get large numbers of parcels. You know, one of the stores where we went to, they said they were getting at one point 2,000 parcels a week. That's almost a trailer load. So if you think about a small corner shop, if you try to back a trailer load of parcels in there once a week, it's an enormous volume. The second thing is that people are getting fed up with standing behind people when you're waiting for parcels or dropping parcels off when you're just trying to buy a pint of milk or a bar of chocolate. You know, it's a frustrating experience. So I think definitely we're at the very minimum of peak PUDO.
Well, I'm really pleased you said that. I'm going to get my boxing gloves on. This is going to be fun. So,
yeah, go on, then.
So first of all, you're right, of course. The traditional format of PUDO, I think, is probably going to become less and less important. For the reasons you mentioned, I think, a supermarket type scenario, it just doesn't work with the traditional format because most new modern supermarkets don't now have a customer service desk. So, the really big ones, the hypermarkets, of course, do, but the Lidls, if you go to Poland, the Biedronkas, I'm not sure what the UK format's going to be other than Lidl, but, whatever they are, the discount players that are everywhere, typically they will not have a customer service desk. So with a traditional format, it isn't going to fly.
And quite often they've got a tiny amount of storage out the back as well. If you try to picture 200 or 300 parcels, and imagine your kitchen, where would you put 300 parcels in a room the size of your kitchen?
Gary, you'll be surprised because I've just come back from Chile and I can't remember the name of the chap, a really nice chap I visited there in downtown Santiago. And he had a small shop, and you won't believe this, he was doing, not per week, but per day, about 1,200 parcels per day.
Wow.
And he loved it. And the truth, though, is his retail point was actually parcels and the rest, not the other way around.
Yeah, so, all right. Here's my challenge to that. Who owned the shop?
He did.
Right. So my point is these major chains who are paying salaries and wages and pensions to people that work in the shop to handle parcels for somebody else. That's where it's breaking down. Now, the one-man band who owns his convenience store, it's a fantastic source of extra income. It's a superb source of extra footfall. But if you own 1,000 of these places or 2,000 of these places, and you suddenly realise that you're paying the equivalent of a full day's pay, 1,200 parcels, how many minutes each? 2 minutes each? 2,400 minutes? How many hours a day is that?
Well, I'd argue, Gary, if it's efficient, it's going to be less than 2 minutes. But you're right, and I think
you start to get to the point where the cost of doing it, of paying somebody on your payroll to do it, greatly outweighs the benefit.
Gary, but you miss, I think, one important point, which is the fact that that customer that may take if that customer then spends a couple of quid, particularly on sort of impulse items that are high margin, that may change the whole picture. So, my feeling is, yes, there is going to be a trend towards eliminating, let's call it employee intensive activities. So there's going to have to be software and hardware that makes it easier. Maybe the points will change. So some points which historically did offer PUDO, mid-sized supermarkets, where they no longer have customer service desk, are going to go for a locker.
Marek, for once,
Petrol stations is a classic
you're
one as
actually
well.
ignoring the elephant in the room here. This is the longest I've ever known you go without saying the word locker. The obvious answer is locker. You take it away from a man service, you put the stuff in a locker, you've still got the people coming to the shop, they're still going to drop their parcel off, pick their parcel up, they're still going to do all those interactions without the labour cost, possibly without taking too much space. Now, 1,200 is a massive number. That's at the far end of the bell curve of normal distribution. But 20, 30, 40, which lots of stores are doing every day, is perfect for a locker solution. So and I can give you more evidence. In the UK, this is happening right now. So the co-op have done deals with locker providers, not just the one I work with, but others, and taken counter services away because it's too distracting, too time consuming, and they're trying to run a store with a single person. They can't have that single person running out the back every 2 minutes or every 1 minute to go and grab a parcel while all the school kids nick all the chocolate. It's just not going to work. So something has to give. And I think PUDO is definitely going to become a victim of its own success. And the big chains, for a start, are going to want it off the counter and another solution.
Well, here, Gary, we're in agreement because the big chains are going to have lockers because it's a lot easier and simpler. Petrol stations, by the way, as well, because when they're selling high margin items, they don't want to distract their staff who typically working in a very small environment, whereas they have a forecourt where you can easily put a locker. So I think, yes, but the place where I actually am pretty confident that PUDOs will remain strong are going to be for smaller outlets. I'm ready to put up a good bottle of whiskey. Yeah, I said a good bottle of whiskey.
I don't drink whiskey at all, but that's okay. But fair enough. But I think time will tell, and I think this is our we're called the last mile prophets for a reason. We are crystal ball gazing 5 or 10 years in the future. I think we're going to see lots of organisations losing their patience with the amount of time this takes. So we'll have to wait and see.
So Gary, let's see who has better crystal balls, you or me.
That's a thought I don't want to dwell on, but thank you.
Thanks for watching this Last Mile Profits video. For more up-to-date last mile news and analysis, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on LinkedIn.